one, and then there should be enough pencils for y'all to at least share. So I'd like everyone to take one of those pieces of paper, because today we're going to get vulnerable. It's not a word that you like to hear when someone starts preaching. Let's be honest. We're going to talk about our biggest fears. And when I say fear, I don't mean that. Thank you. So we're going to talk about fear. And when I say fear, I don't mean that kid definition of fear, like the monster under your bed, or that I don't want to go to school today because the teacher's mean fear. I'm talking about that adult fear that causes your biggest anxieties, your worries, and especially for you guys, that actually angers you. I want you to take that and I want you to write that on your paper, because no one else is going to see that except for you. But I want you to be able to look at that. So I'm going to give you just a second to take a pencil and a piece of paper and just write down what that biggest fear for you is. Get vulnerable. No one else is going to see it. Because I'm going to share mine with you today, but you don't have to share yours. Now, while you're doing that, I want to talk just a second about certain behaviors that God commands us to do. He tells us to do many things throughout the book, and pretty well, if you follow 12 main rules, you get close to godliness. You follow the 10 commandments, love us and love thy neighbor, and you get pretty good. I mean, you're never going to be perfect, but if you try to follow those, you're pretty okay. But we look at that, commandments such as thou shalt not kill are only used a handful of times throughout the Bible. Now, society says murdering people is bad, right? That's probably a thing we eat with. But did you know that that exact phrase is only used once in the Bible? Where does society stress that? Now, I'm not telling you to go kill people, but it's only alluded to over around 20 times. Idolization is spoken exactly as that word or other allusions more than 200 times. And fear not, in that exact phrase or similar, depending on your translation, is used anywhere from 100 to 365 times. Where does God want us to stress? What does God want us to focus on? Because obviously, yeah, we probably shouldn't kill people. That's probably not a good thing to do. But where is His focus for you to be at? He wants you to make sure that you're focused on Him. Now, we talk about fear, and you get that kind of, I call it the hallmark phrase, or the hallmark sense, where, yeah, let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's just put that Band-Aid on it. It'll all be okay. With sympathy, we love you. We'll see you later. Go to the Hallmark store. That's what you get in your card. And we immediately think of Philippians 4:6. It's a great verse. It's a great verse. Don't get me wrong. But I've realized that phrase that says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation." Okay, it's a lot easier said than done, and you're giving me a Hallmark card. You're thinking everything is going to be okay based on this card that you're giving me, saying, "Oh, well, we're told not to be anxious. It'll be okay." Yeah, it'll be okay. But what about the current situation? Let's be honest. So, the New Living Testament says in this exact same thing, don't worry about anything except pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for what He has done. Once again, that is easier said than done, because we say, "Oh, well, don't worry about it." Yeah, that takes a lot of time and a lot of experience, and I'll tell you the same things that I've said, I don't care. I care a lot about. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't want to say it. So, I break this down by illusion. And I know there are some people here that really want to go to a snake handling church. So I'm going to tell you right now, I am not responsible for your medical bills. Whatever you do is on your own time. Capiche? Shout you out. Okay. We all see the doorways. There's 2 main ways out, right? There's 6-foot copperheads in each of them right now. That's what I want you to imagine. It's time to leave. Who's going out the door? Nope. That door's locked. That door's locked off. Who's walking out that door? Why not? Because here's the thing. Move this. Because here's the thing. Yeah, there's a snake there. But if God wants you to go, will He not move it? So, I don't care if there is a snake here, because I know that if I approach this door, that snake's going to move. And I'll see you later. Now, I say that like, yeah, I'm going to be the first guy there, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'll make a new door right out this way, is what's really going to happen. That's just what's going to happen. Because I know personally, every time I've seen a snake behind an enclosure, I'm gone. Just quick, easy, out of there. No, thank you. See you later. But I say that because what dictated my decision at that moment? Was it what God was telling me to do? If God was telling me to go? Or was it something else? Because I like this phrase that I heard in a sermon one time. And he was talking about something a little similar to this. But he said, I want you to focus on it from a worship aspect. What do you do when you worship? You're raising your hands, praising Him again and again. You're telling Him, you're declaring that in this sense, the Lord has dominion directly over you in everything you do. At least almost every worship song I've heard, He's got this, He's in control, I don't have to do nothing. Yep, He's got me. Somewhere in that sense, that's what it says. Specifically, let me see here. Yeah. When you look at the definition of praise, it says the feeling or expression of reverence or respect for a deity, so for God. We're obedient to their commands, and we at least pay their advice, mind, and consideration. So if I'm walking back over to that door, and I'm seeing that snake, and I'm going to have to make a decision on whether or not to walk out, and I say, oh, it's not for me. Go to another worship. Oh, I'm going to say, oh, no, thank you. Not today. I'll make a paddle, I'll DoorDash us some food, hopefully it'll be gone by then. Who I'm worshiping? Because I can guarantee you, I'm not following what God is telling me to do. And when we raise our hands, literally or figuratively, because I know some of us, we take a step back and raise our hands. Are we rooted in our faith, or are we letting fear dictate our life? What are we worshiping? Now, once again, I want to tell you, don't go fight a snake in the parking lot. What I am telling you is who are we expressing respect for? Whose advice and commands are we taking heed of? And if it's not the Lord, it leaves one person. Because the last time I checked, the Bible does not say God, the enemy, and the enemy's cousin. Hot take. Last time I checked. Could be wrong. Tell me if I am. But we have to note that we cannot let the enemy dictate our lives and a decision simply because we're scared. Look at that fear. That is what is stopping you. If that is what is stopping you, who is dictating your life? Now, I'm going to get real up and personal real quick. We all know at this point, this is what I call my last official posting with the group. This is the last time that I'm here officially, knowing exactly where I am, what I'm doing, because I've accepted that ministry volunteer position at Crossroads. Well, one thing for me that I don't know if many people know. If they do, great. If not, I will. You're going to find out. When I moved into my house, and most of you helped me with that. When I moved into my house, the enemy really started to strike on me. And he found my greatest fear, and he ate at it. This is mine. I have the greatest fear ever of being alone. And I don't mean that I can't go to the dollar store by myself. That's not what I mean. My fear runs deep. I've seen way too many people come to that funeral home and they died alone. I've seen way too many people have 0 people at their funeral because they died alone. They didn't have kids. They never had that opportunity. They never made connections to have people close to them. And that was my greatest fear. So when I got called to Crossroads, it wasn't by means of, yeah, this is where you need to go right now. This was I went for a 9:15 service because I had to be in Dayton by 3 o'clock. And I needed somewhere to go that I could get in and out real quick and in a hurry, not miss a Sunday service, get my cup filled up, understand the word, so I could get on the road. And that next Saturday, I got a text from a pastor there saying, hey, you should come back. Let's talk, let's get to know each other. I did, and that wrote it. So I had this opportunity now facing me. I can go, or I can stay. And I immediately, when I was sitting there and I was trying to say, yeah, that'd be a great idea, I'll do that, it'll be fine. I'll get it all worked out. Yeah, give me the paperwork sent, it'll be fine. When I tell you, I had never been so scared out of my mind. Because I got back to my car, and I hit the interstate, and I was in tears. I got off the exit, I went to the Sonic, dried it up for a few minutes, got my pretzel, come back out and cried. I got home, I cried again. I got out here in the parking lot that day, I cried again. The amount of times I cried over that because I was so terrified. And it all comes back to this. Because in my mind, the minute I left, I lost everybody here. Because the minute I left, because in my mind, what the enemy was telling me was, well, you'll leave everyone. They're going to hate you because you're leaving. They're going to hate you. They're never going to like you again. You'll never see any of them. You'll lose Courtney and Mary, the 2 closest things you've ever had to a sister. You'll lose them. You'll lose everybody you've ever known. Everybody who's ready to fight for you. Everybody who's willing to help you with anything. They're all going to lose you, and you're never going to see any of them again. And I was taking that up. I was letting that feed my mind. So at this point, debating which door to use. At this point in time, that's where I am. There's something standing in my way of going and doing exactly what God has allowed me to do. He has opened that door for me. Because the funny thing is every night until that text message comes through, and after that text message comes through, I have been praying for opportunity. God hit me in the face with that one. He likes to do that. But here I was, and I was looking at this, and I had the perfect opportunity to go and reach more lives, further the kingdom than I could here. Everything sounded great. But there's my, oh, I don't know about that. There's my, oh, I don't know about that. Oh, yeah, that's going to make me lose all my friends. I don't want to do that. Oh, that's going to hurt my family because I'm not going to be able to be there often. Oh, that's going to make me get up at 5 a.m. in the morning to get there. All of this stemming from this thing that's in my doorway. Every bit of it. I encourage you to turn to the book of Exodus. And we're also going to be in chapter 3. Now, the book of Exodus has been my book for the year. Courtney called me one day and she heard the soundtrack in the background, and that was the 12th time I had to watch The Prince of Egypt that day. And I was going between watching the movie and reading the actual book. Part of that is because I loved Val Kilmer, but most of that was because it was resonating. So, I can't just start to talk about fear and the fact that fear is in my way without talking about Moses. Because we've all probably seen that graphic, or most of us, whether it's been on Facebook or in the group chat, that says Noah was drunk, Moses had anxiety, and there's like 14 others. Okay. I think about the life of Moses, and I think about how similar it is to us. So Moses was sent away as a child. If you don't know, I'm going to recap the story. He was sent away as a baby down the river. Princess picked him up, and he was raised in the eyes of Egyptian royalty. He had everything he ever wanted, and he was accustomed to this life. He could sit there and he could eat grapes off the vine and be friends with a palm leaf. That's what he wanted to do. In chapter 2, we see him leave this entire life that he knew for God's people, for the people that he came from. And I think about that and I think about us. How often do we become accustomed to a life rooted in society, rooted to we can do whatever we want to do, and then we shift to go leave that for God's people? Does that sound a little similar to what some of us have done? Maybe just a little bit. But he leaves everything he had never known, and he returns to those who were the same people as his mom who originally sent him down. And in chapter 3, Pharaoh comes along and finds something a little weird. He sees a bush that's on fire and it's not burning. And I like to think of it kind of like this. He's walking around, he's doing this thing. He goes, whoa, wait a minute, that's kind of cool. I want to go look at that. So he goes. And, God starts speaking to him through this bush. And I have to wonder if he wasn't thinking if he was going crazy. Because I know I would be. But at the end of the day, God commands Moses through this bush to go lead his people out of Egypt. And in verse 11, he responds, well, who am I to appear before the Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? Personally, I don't believe that was a, well, who am I type of remark where I'm too qualified for that. Because if you read that in the context of Moses' life, the Pharaoh had disowned him as his own child and pretty well put a stake out on his head saying, bring him to me dead or alive, I don't care. And that's what they don't tell you in the movie. That happens later, but no, that happened right then. He left, they wanted to kill him. But at the same time, his people, these Israelites that he had left for, were all looking at him like, we don't trust this guy, because if you remember, he's like of the same royal people that kept us enslaved for 400 and some years. I don't want nothing to do with it. And here's God telling them, you're going to appear before the Pharaoh. You're going to lead the people out of Egypt. And it's all on you. So I believe that he's hearing this. He's like, who am I to go approach him? Because he wants to kill me, and I know the first step I take on that little step right there to get up to that little right there. He's going to kill me. He's going to have all them come over there and just chop my little head off. And then you want me to go tell these people that they're going to have to follow me? Yeah, they won't even let me in their little hut. That won't happen. They won't be caught dead letting me in there. Moses was scared. Moses had fears. He had anxiety. He had worries. He carried them all. He was absolutely mortified of letting God down in that moment. And God's response in verse 12, I will be with you. So as you go throughout the book, Moses does exactly as God commands. Every time, you can go fact check me on that, it says in the book, exactly as God commands, or some similar reiteration. And God's there. So he had the option to stand at his doorway and debate. Am I going to let the fear of dying stop me from carrying out what God wants me to do? Am I going to let the fear of not being hurt by these people stop me from carrying out what I'm being commanded to do by God? If he would have done that, who would he have been worshiping? Who would he have been letting have dominion over his life? If he let those things stop him. I was trying to figure out a good way to kind of tie all this together. And I was watching this sermon. And he talks about David and Goliath. you, like that's just who I am, I get scared. So David is just told by his father, just go take this to your brothers. Here's your little basket. Go take this stuff to your brothers. They're out there fighting the lions. So David is obedient to his father, and he takes the basket, whatever he's supposed to take, and he moseys down to the battlefield like he should. And he looks around, and he's like, I thought we were fighting today. Last I checked, we were at war here. And they're all like, yeah, go see about that. And out steps this giant dude over here. And David's like, that's where you're at. Y'all are gonna let what God has given us, what God has blessed us with, what God gave us thousands of years ago at this point, be taken away by that. You're crazy. Now, I'm not saying he was completely fearless in that moment, but I'm just saying he knew when people were acting stupid, for lack of a better term. And he goes to the river and he gets his stones, and I like to think that around there he's thinking, you better be able to pull this off. Because I know if I hit him the wrong way and he gets angry, I'm dead, there ain't nothing more happening. He's looking for these stones and he's thinking, God better work a miracle. Because this ain't going to go well for me. And he comes back and he's got his stone and he's looking at his brother and he's going, watch this. Yeah, I got this. You watch. And Goliath steps out over here. And he's like, what are you going to do, little bro? And he's like, that's just what I like to think happened in that moment. And he sees that, and he has the perfect opportunity to run. And he probably should have. Because if I see a 12-foot guy, about 465 pounds, walk out with the little stones, Simon Peter ain't going to happen. But this David, the same David, remember, that would later become king and would become like the main dude over the line of Jesus. It's important. Just little. Looks and he sees this guy. It's like, all right. And he takes his stones and he plops them and he kills this big giant. That's the Sunday school version. But at the end of the day, what he come to realize was he could have let Goliath stand in his way. He could have let that fear of this dude is way too tall for me. I'm a peewee in the sumo wrestling league compared to this dude. Ain't gonna happen. He could squish me with his big toe. He could take that fear and he could run. And the land would have been taken from God's people. God's blessings would have been taken from them. These opportunities that the Lord was giving them could have been taken and raked through the mud because he was scared. So I come back to my point. I could allow myself to look at that and think, yeah, if I go there, I'm going to die. Or if I go there, I'm going to lose the closest things I've ever had to my sister. Or my favorite. If I go there and things don't work out, I'm gone forever. Or I can come over and I can take this fear by the neck, by the ear, by the big toe, whatever you want to take it by. And I can send it back to the one who sent it. And I can keep going. And I can keep going. And I can decide. And I'm going to get closer to this because this could go very badly if I'm not near water. not God, there's only one person that I remember. Because last I checked, there was no God, the enemy, and the enemy's cousin. I can just take this and send it back where it comes from. Because in Psalm 23, verse 4, even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid. For you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. He's there waiting. By those people, by Moses and by David, by those standards, he is there. You have to be obedient. Follow through. Commitment issues are hard. Let's be honest. How many of us struggle from commitment issues? The first one to tell you right there. Are you going to allow your Goliath, your 6-foot snake in the doorway, to determine your life? Because we can. We absolutely can. This right here, your slip of paper, look at the eyes. Look at dead in the eyes. Look at your paper, dead in the eyes. That right there has the power to determine your next steps. That right there has the power to determine your next move in your walk with Christ. And it determines whether or not you derail that train. Because I'm not saying you can't get back on track. What I'm saying is, it makes it hard to get there. I've done it before. I'll probably end up doing it again. You want to hear about a story that really made me do that? Let me tell you about the KMBC trip I took that one night where I spent one night come home and cried for the rest of my life. Yeah, that was a trip. Come see me after the tech talk is over. So, we have this opportunity to face down Goliath in our doorway. We have the opportunity to see this snake in the doorway, and we can make a move. Because at the end of the day, if God is telling me to walk out these doors, He'll make a move. He's going to walk over. You're going to start to walk over, and that 6-foot snake that might be over there ready to strike, if God wants it to move, it'll go away. Whether it spontaneously combusts, slithers away, if evil comes and picks it up right at the right moment, it's going to go away. And the same can be said for your fear, because it may not go away, but God is going to give you something better to prosper from it. I look at my situation and I look at that and I'm realizing, yeah, not going to be here as often, not going to be as close to these people. But I already see the benefits of me going. Because I'm getting ready to impact lives I never would have thought I would have been able to impact here. I'm getting ready to meet people that I never would have met here. I'm meeting more and more godly women every day in similar situations that I have been through already, or that I will go through, who come from similar backgrounds as me, and aren't the people up in the holler whose mom and dad got married at 14 years old and lived happily ever after. No, I'm meeting the ones whose parents divorced, everything went to crap, but they went with Jesus. Their parents may not believe, but they do. And I'm meeting these people, and I never would have done it. But if I would have let the life stand in my way, would I have? Would I have further known with Christ? Would I be able to impact these lives that I'm being able to impact? And so I ask you, when you look at that page, what is that stopping you from doing? Where is that standing on you? Because you might be scared of change. Buttercup, if you are 18 to 35 years old at this point, and you're scared of change, honey, love, how you made it through the past 6 months of your life, I have no idea. Because those first 6 months, you change a lot. And you're going to continue to change until the Lord calls you home or He comes to meet us. So if you're scared of change, you need to go pray that. Because I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have a healthy fear. What I'm saying is it's a bad rent to get when you let that stand in your way. David could have let Goliath stand in his way. Moses could have walked away from the bush and said, man, I must be high or something, because I just saw that. So let me tell you, you have a choice. I was talking to Waltus one day, and I asked him a question. I said, do you think God has every bit of our lives planned out? Do you think it is finite? He said, I'm going to tell you this. He said, God has our lives ready for us. He knows where we're going to impact, who we're going to impact, and why we're going to impact them. He said, your decision, you have one major decision, and it's summed up in a song pretty great. Do I stay or do I go? So you look at your fear. I looked at mine. And that was a rough one for me. Because if y'all don't know, I had to have my house anointed. Bro, I was going crazy. I was hearing things. I heard a dog one night, and my dog wasn't even home. My mom took my dog for the night, and I heard a dog. I have no idea where that come from. The TV wasn't on. My phone was muted and powered off. I was going crazy. I didn't have my house anointed. I had a lot to figure out in a short amount of time, or else I was going to be going to the Kirby song. But I figured it out. Because I figured out that was a fear. It was a big one. You have to get comfortable knowing that fear is always going to be there. Fear is one of your emotions. Feel fear. Don't let it dictate your life. Because the moment you let it dictate, you're no longer letting God have dominion over your life. This thing that you have given to the Lord, that you prayed on the altar, and you said, Lord, take my life, use it for yours, because I don't want to live the way I'm living anymore. The minute you let your fear take back over and make that decision is when you bring it back out of His hands. And you're saying, oh yeah, I want to live completely for you. Oh, except this little piece. I want to keep that over here in my stomach. Oh, and I'm just scared to let you have this one too. I might as well just take that too. Yeah, I'm just keep those over there for me. Well, that's not Jake. That's not how that works. Because He wants you fully and completely. So, letting fear stand in the way shifts your mind from living completely and utterly for the Lord. That's it. You can have a healthy fear. You should have a healthy fear of God. You should not have a healthy fear that is completely contained by the enemy. It shifts you from worshiping the Lord in everything you do. It shifts you from worshiping the Lord to worshiping your fear, your hesitancy, and at the end of the day, the enemy. Because last I heard, there wasn't no enemy's cousin. We cannot allow our fear to dictate the lives that we've already given to the Lord. You have a choice. Just follow the choice. You can derail your train and get back on. But I know that my 6-foot snake in the doorway, my 12-foot, 462-pound sumo wrestler over there, standing in my doorway right now, I know where I'm going to send him.
know where I have sent him. And I tell you, I saw him be returned to sender right on his forehead. He's gone. Where's yours? Where's yours? You have permission to use my lighter as long as you promise not to light anybody on fire. If you fear somebody in this room, let me tell you, don't return them to sender. They'll figure it out. Go return yours. Where do you stand?